got some things to say.
This isn't just a song.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk a doubter, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
All right. Got some things to say. I don't like talking about race, and of course people are gonna be like, well, it's easy to say that because you're white. No, that's not the reason. I just think that it doesn't help either side because of how the narrative is. And Tim Scott is not the exception, and if he is the exception, then he's a trailblazer. You know, he's not a person that just slipped through the cracks, okay? There are people who have gained success without following the narrative that the far left fanatics who have taken over the Democratic Party are pushing. And they've achieved many of their goals and got to where they wanted to be in life without having to stand there and cry about a system being rigged against them. I have a lot of admiration and respect for Tim Scott. I don't believe him seasoned enough to run the country. Now, same could be said about Donald Trump in 2016, but if you want to talk exception to the rule, I would find Donald Trump to be that more so than Tim Scott. And that's not taking anything away from Tim Scott. As I said, I do like, respect, and honor, well, admire Tim Scott. And hell, honor him too, why not? He's a good guy, and he's proven that he can make it as far as he did in life without having to, as I said, follow that fanatical woke narrative. And that's a major problem. That's more of a problem than what they want to say the problem is. In fact, them and their false narrative on where the problem lies is in itself the actual problem. Their false narrative is the problem. The 1619 project was based on theory. If you took some truths away from what happened in history, there's a remote possibility that history would have fell in line the way the 1619 project fell in. But the 1619 project is not history. It's a revisionist spin on history. And you got to wiggle yourself away from the spin doctors, get away from the spin doctors, and do your own research on the truth. And stop looking for things that cater to this 1619 project. Because the first person to be a slave was John Caser. He was an indentured servant to Anthony Johnson. And remember what I told you about them Angolan pygmies? This guy wasn't that much taller than Jerry Nadler. It's a pretty short, stout dude, evil penguin type, you know. Throw a little more melanin on him and he could be mistaken for an Angolan pygmy. So, as I said, you got to watch out for these Angolan pygmies that, you know, are collaborating with the big-nosed extraterrestrial beings trying to take over the whole world. And this is a valid argument, and I am running for Congress against Jerry Nadler to get evil, dangerous men like Jerry Nadler out of office. And that's why I'm wearing such fine attire, as you see here. I bought this at Telco, by the way. And I'm very much against Disney's new woke agenda that they've adapted that probably has Walt Disney turning over in his cryogenics capsule there. Anyway, what else could be said? We were talking about race. If these things were stacked against people, we'd still be sitting around here waiting to have a black president. Well, we went halfway there. Barack Obama's half white. And by the way, his father's side is Kenyan. The Kenyans were not slaves. They were conquerors of neighboring tribes who then enslaved their POWs and sold them off to the Europeans, who ultimately sold them to the Americans. So Barack Obama is not a descendant of American slaves. Michelle might be. Now, I think Joan Rivers' joke about her has gone amok. And while I might find it hilarious, I don't believe it to be true. I mean, I sincerely do believe that Michelle Obama, although she is my mortal foe, is a biological female. However, the joke about her being possibly a man is I find it rather funny. So people need to separate the comedy from the reality there. That's why when I refer to myself as a Messiah-colored person rather than white, it gets a lot of people pissed off. Got to separate the reality from the comedy. I am really shooting for Jerry Nadler's job because he's not as competent as I know for a fact I will be when I take that from him through your vote. Jerry Nadler's done nothing for the black community, and I understand there are black people that say, how can white people argue over what they could do for the black community? Might have an argument there, but for those of you who are black who voted against Donald Trump, I don't think I'm out of line to say that you guys shot yourselves in the foot, because the lowest unemployment among black people in the history of keeping records for these things was during Donald Trump's tenure in office as President of the United States. Which is why one of several reasons why I continue to support Donald Trump. And I also support him because I'm totally against name calling. And as much as I like Tim Scott, I don't think he's up for the job. As much as I like Ron DeSanctimonious, I don't think he's up for the job. And the name calling's got to stop. And on that same day, when our nation's 45th president knocks out our unduly elected 46th president to then become our duly elected 47th president, I will be rescuing the 10th Congressional District in New York from that evil penguin, Jerry Nadler, who's just been in there too damn long. Now, all this talk about the 1619 Project, all this talk about white privilege, do you realize if that kind of rhetoric, gets legs and starts running, if that becomes general consensus, if the silliness about white privilege becomes general consensus, you're going to have a lot of frustrated black people beating up white people simply out of frustration because they believe the scales are tipped against them. I could be walking down the street, and just because I'm the color of the people that white liberals say is an oppressor, I'm going to get beat up. I'm going to get jumped. I'm a white person that supports conservative candidates for office. I'm a white person that supports Republican, mostly conservative Republican candidates for public office. That does not make me an oppressor of black people. And I shouldn't have to get jumped for it. I shouldn't have people picketing at my job that, well, I might have to leave if elected next November, which I'm confident will happen, because you need a confident leader. And my part of Brooklyn needs representation. We don't have that with Jerry Nadler. We just don't. We got higher gas prices because of our president, Jerry Nadler, supported. But we don't have decent representation at all down here. We're getting killed out here. In order to get eggs for a good price, you gotta buy it from a smuggler. That part I'm just kidding about, but I kid a lot. But what I don't kid about is that Jerry Nadler's got to go. And an agenda he supports is why there's so much racial tension where there should not be racial tension. You know, things that I personally thought we had conquered years ago. And people like Jerry Nadler keep it alive by supporting people like Joe Biden, by supporting people like that word salad tossing, incompetent, cackling clown Vice President Harris, by supporting the thankfully former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, by supporting an evil spirit-cooking witch by the name of Hillary Rodham Clinton, you know, Hillary the Hammer Clinton, busting up all our cell phones with a hammer. Some expensive equipment right there, Hill. Gotta understand, you know, we're falling apart out here in areas like Bensonhurst because of Jerry Nadler. I don't know why. I don't see the reason. I have every right to run for office, but I still don't see the rhyme or reason why districts cannot be made up of conjoining neighborhoods or neighborhoods that are adjacent to one another. Why it's got to be split up like this. I mean, I should be able to go from one end of a person's district to another end of a person's district without ever entering someone else's district at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should be able to travel from here to another part of Jerry Nadler's district without having to go through some other congressperson's district. If you follow what I'm saying. So, I think things should be realigned. I wouldn't be going head to head with Jerry Nadler if things were aligned like that, because he doesn't set foot in Bensonhurst. This is supposed to be his area. Just as much his area as the Lower East Side, as Greenwich Village, as Chelsea Piers, Upper West Side. Bensonhurst is part of his district too. Where is he? I wouldn't have to go against him if this wasn't part of his district. But he's forcing me to. The system is forcing me to. The system brings about people like me to have to run against this man who is an evil penguin. And we're going to have to get rid of this evil penguin. We're going to have to get him out of office. And the only way to do that is to get someone like me in office. Someone who cares about you. Someone who's there for you. Who has been there for you for so many years. And if you look around this neighborhood, you look around Bensonhurst, everybody knows me. They love me. I know I got their vote. But in all reality, it is going to be a tough uphill climb. Because believe it or not, in those Manhattan neighborhoods that I mentioned that are part of Jerry Nadler's district, they actually love him there. They're actually falling for that delusion that this evil penguin is their guy. And maybe he might be a little nicer to them than he is in Bensonhurst. Simply evident of that is that we never see him in Bensonhurst. Where's your guy representing you in Bensonhurst? It's not Jerry Nadler. On paper, it says it's Jerry Nadler, but is it really Jerry Nadler? We got to get that evil penguin out of office. No name calling, but we got to get that evil penguin out of office. All right, take care. Oh, respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Vote for me in November of next year. Stay strong. Keep kicking that slang.
Grants for Congress, because it's just so American.